Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The Nigerian Football Federation on Sunday denied owing the Super Falcons after they staged a sit-in protest at their hotel during the France 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup. The players refused to leave their hotel in Grenoble, France, in protest over unpaid bonuses and allowances. Joining us now to speak on this is Nigerian Football Federation's Media Officer, Ayo Ibidapo. Ayo, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Good morning and welcome to the morning show. Thank you for honoring our invitation to speak on this very controversial matter. Now, one of the Super Falcon players is alleging that since they returned, the NFF has still refused to pay their arrears dating back to 2016 and 2018 for matches played against Gambia and Senegal. Why, is the NFF finding it very difficult to resolve this matter? And what is the contention all about? 3 years after.
I think everything has been cleared. Our statement is very, very clear and self-explanatory. We don't want to go into banter with players who, of course, play for Nigeria and, of course, have been well settled. Of course, our statement on the NFF.com clearly stated how these players were paid. The allowances, the game against South Korea, how much they were paid, $3,000 for a win. And of course, the number of days they've actually stayed in the World Cup or in France, which is daily allowance for $100 per day. Amounting to about $1,400. The backlog, a breakdown was given actually on the NFF.com, released a statement just 2 days ago. So I think we should not go into banter with players over these monies. The ones that actually they've not gotten, of course, there are processes we follow at the NFF through our financial partners, financial derivatives, and payments as at Friday. Of course, some of them started getting alerts about the payments they were supposed to get. And I'm sure by now, with the working day still on, they should be getting. So, like I said, it is no controversy. And, of course, it's not part of the NFF to ensure we keep this in the public and continue hitting the polity.
Well, but I mean, as Nigerians, we're interested. And I would like you to still address the question about, NFF owing players since 2016, since 2018. Okay.
Let me quickly take you back. I have a breakdown here. Okay, we have the 2016 Women's World Cup, Women Africa Cup of Nations qualifier versus Senegal, 500,000 naira paid to each player. We have 2018 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier versus Gambia, 500,000 naira paid to each player. We have camp and friendly matches played in Spain. Of course, 7 days daily allowance of $700 paid to each player. We have Wafu Cup tournament staged in Cote d'Ivoire, allowance of $500 paid to each player. We have pre-World Cup camp in Austria, 14 days daily allowance paid, $1,400 paid to each player. We have refund made to them, whatever accrued from visa procurement, train, bus, and airport taxes. We also have $4,400, like I mentioned earlier, paid to each player, being win bonus, for the match, World Cup match, of course, against Korea, the win, and, of course, 14 days of daily allowance paid. So I don't know what other monies we're talking about here.
I think we're talking about quite a lot of monies, sir. I think we're talking about quite a lot of monies because aside from even our players who tend to be disenfranchised, no, as the media officer, sir, that will come from you. But aside from our players that tend to be disenfranchised in situations like this, we also recently had reports floating through the media earlier on this year about the NFF being threatened to receive a ban from FIFA if certain monies weren't returned. So there seem to be always issues surrounding monies and the NFF, and it's not the first time it's coming into the news. That is why I stopped there, because it's not a situation of being defensive, sir. It's a situation of getting to the grassroots on this matter at hand. What is making it hard, and what disenfranchises the NFF from ensuring that everything is paid intactfully so that we don't resort to situations like this where our women, our Falcons, are going by a sit-in in France to make sure that they get paid, because it should not have to lead to a sit-in, sir?
If you clearly understand what I explained earlier, and I'm very explicit with my explanation. Except you have a breakdown of money you think the players have claimed they're being owed. We're talking about the Falcons at the moment. So if you have a breakdown, maybe you should give it to us. But I've given you a breakdown of all the monies that were supposed to have been given to the players. And I don't think we should still be talking about this, because the NFF has had issues with so much regarding taking care of about 11 national teams and ensuring that they actually get what they are due. It is really very tough times, but of course, taking the part of the players or taking what belongs to them and denying them of it when it's available is not part of this particular NFF. So I don't think we should still talk about it, except, like I said, you have a list of the claims made by the players, and
no, I think you need to understand. I think you need to understand where we're coming from. Absolutely. Now, the match that was played against Senegal was in 2016. The match with Gambia was in 2018. Now, 3 years later, it had to take the Super Falcons, after crashing out of the World Cup Championship in France, to organize a sitting before the 500,000 that you were referring to could be paid. Yeah. Why did it have to take the NFF 3 whole years to play? It did not take
that long. We have only explained. We did not put a particular timeline as to when these players were played. We actually just stated all the monies they've gotten since the qualifiers started, and some of the qualifiers that actually were not or haven't been paid. So it did not take any sitting, of course, before this. And don't forget again, for the first time in a very long time, and I think this is historical, the first time the Falcons get this kind of preparation, which was really at the detriment of so many things, and of course the NFF digging deep into the purse to ensure that they get the very best of preparation, which also cost so much money. They were camped at the same camp where the Super Eagles camped going to the 2018 World Cup. And like I said, we didn't put any particular timeline as to when these players were paid the qualifiers. It's just been all outlined as we actually have paid them since the qualifiers and leading up to the World Cup and after the World Cup, which by now some of them should be getting the list, the remaining part of what is expected of them. So basically, that's the position right now.
Well, it's important for you to realize also that these players, the Super Falcons, they've been talking to the press and they've been making disclosures. And I think personally that what happened in France is embarrassing.
I think again, it is also very important to note that the NFF has come out with a breakdown, I'm still reiterating that, of how much they've been paid, of how they have been paid, of what every player has gotten. And NFF is a very transparent organization. Come out with all the amounts these players actually are supposed to get. So I don't know why, well, in this part of the world, we believe a player's statement over that of an institution or an organization like the Nigerian Football Federation, supervised by the Sports Ministry and, of course, the federal government. So I don't think we should now start making that a debate outside that this is what we've paid or this is not what we've paid. It is very clear, and we've made ourselves very,
the subject is in the public domain anyway.
Absolutely, sir.
Both and I think sides of the narrative.
Of course, like I said, we've released a statement to that effect. So I don't think it should still be a debate for us to heat up the polity after this has been taken care of, and we've come out with a very, very clear position.
Okay, so Mr. Ibidapo, what exactly do you mean when you say that there is no exact timeline on the payment to the players? Does that mean that someone can play for the Falcons or play for the Eagles?
We cannot tell you, we cannot say, okay, a particular date, we actually paid this. A particular date, we actually paid that.
But surely that calls for due process, and then surely that is also some sort of flaw then on behalf of the NFF.
I cannot put my hands to, I cannot put my hands to the date right now. I don't work with the accounts department.
But then that's also where the problem lies.
Every money they're supposed to get leading up to the qualifiers, every monies they are supposed to be paid actually have been paid, including the ones that are supposed to be paid while they are in the tournament. And the NFF had to very well source for these funds and ensure they are paid. Don't forget,
just with no timeline on when.
Of course, thankfully, Say again?
I said it's interesting that there's just no timeline on when these payments are made. I think that is a very important point.
I did not say, please quote me correctly. No, hello, please quote me correctly. I did not say there is no timeline. I said I cannot put my fingers to it right now because I don't work with the accounts department. I never knew I was going to be drilled over this as to what timeline where they paid any money they actually have gotten.
Anyway, Ayo, what we know is that this is not the first time that Nigerian players, either the Super Falcons or the Super Eagles or, any other category of, footballers who stage a protest internationally, causing Nigeria a lot of embarrassment. And we hope that the NFF
there are a whole lot of things.
Can I finish, please?
Yeah.
And we hope that we hope that the NFF will do whatever it takes to prevent this kind of situation from repeating itself.
Yes.
But one of the fallouts of the Super Falcons participation in the Women's World Cup football, is this concern about the employment of a foreign coach. Even some former coaches of that team have pointed out that when we had local coaches, the Super Falcons seem to have done better. 2007, 2009, 2011, but at this time we have a foreign coach. Some of them are recommending that the NFF should engage local coaches and not a foreign coach. Is the NFF responding to this, or is the NFF aware of this at all?
Well, we've had in the past, the Falcons have been managed by a whole lot of local coaches. Ismail Amabo, Okposo, so many of them. Of course, and we've seen what they actually have attained as a team. On the continent, Nigeria have dominated, winning the tournament, the Africa Women's Cup of Nations, a record 9 times, unprecedented. And, of course, this time around, there was a need to take them further. With due respect to the coaches who are still part and parcel of football development, and, of course, Maureen Madu is an assistant coach with the current Falcons. We had Florence Omagbemi the last time, too, and this is the first time to see how they can also extend the dominance they've actually shown in Africa, in the other part of the world. And the doors are not closed, or the door really is not closed to local coaches. But that would take the technical...
Thank you. We'll have to close it here. Your point is very clear.